Well, hello there and welcome to the bathroom of the dollhouse where all the big thinking gets done. That's right, for another reading and quasi-comprehensive commentary on The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and you Stelfers for January 9th, the day of ambition. That's right. And here at the top of the page is a visual representation of the day of ambition. We have us an image of, oh, what could it be? Well, let's just take a look-see, shall we? Boom! It's two arms upraised, grasping for the ring. Or perhaps, that's right, a halo. Alright, does that speak to the day of ambition, reaching for the brass ring? Hey, I'd argue it just might. Now, what's kind of interesting is rings have taken on a little bit of a theme here with the visual representational image, too. Hey, that's very interesting to me. I don't know about so much for you. But in any event, hey, the visual representational image aside, as that's not altogether all too important, what's important around here is wishing you a happy birthday. That's right. So if it's January 9th and it's your birthday today, I just want to say happy birthday. But oftentimes these videos catch people late, and if that's the case, I just want to say I hope you had a happy birthday. But for everybody else who's joining us randomly or more ideally to celebrate the January 9th birthday, I just want to say hello, welcome, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Now, before I dive in direct with the read, something I like to do around these here parts, and that's a roll some dice. That's right, this is the DykASSt birthday broadcast, so I like to live up to the namesake, but I do so more importantly for synchronicity's sake. And here I rolled a 5 and a 3 for an 8. Now, what is synchronicity, you're probably wondering? Well, my friends, a lot of time we get out into the world and we're very singular of focus. That's right, we got the blinders on, so we don't necessarily see everything that's going on around us. You know, going after our errands or just the commute to get to work. It's all autopilot, right? Yeah, you see things, but you're just not taking notice of them. And why do I bring this up? Well, as I've heard told, the universe or the powers that be will put things in our path to help us realize or manifest our goals and aspirations. But if we got the blinders on, hey, we might not be so open to seeing as much. So this is an exercise to take those off and to start recognizing what the universe might be putting in our path with a sign that we can't help but notice, at least hopefully. That's right. Your daily numbers, a 5 and a 3 for an 8. Now, you don't have to go with the numbers that I rolled for you. The intention is there. But it's probably advisable you take your own set of dice if you want to go out in the world and try this out. So why do you get your own dice? Well, so you can ascribe directional values to number sets as well as time limits with which to go in those directions. But once you have all that established, all that figured out, pick a spot, someplace you like to go out in town. I don't know, I often you like to say the town square, so let's go with that. So you pick the town square, you get your directional value, maybe it's north for 10 minutes, so you set off. But as you do this, get those blinders off. Start soaking up everything like a sponge. You never know. Maybe the day starts to take on a theme. But you got to be open to as much. Start noticing things. See what's going on. You know how somebody might mention a car and then you start seeing it everywhere? Hey, you know, some people say that's coincidence, but I'd say that the car was there all along. You just weren't open to it. So that's right. See what you see here. Maybe something starts to present. I think you get the idea. But let's say you get to the end of your first time value. You're not really seeing anything but the average everyday goings on. You know what? Take a step back, compose yourself, just take the day in a little bit. Hey, maybe you notice the street sign and the corner that you're on there. Maybe it just so happens to be Old 35th Avenue. Hey, you know what? I would take that as a sign that you're on the right path. That's right. Your number's coming into the equation there. Start spying things like that. So, you know, roll your dice again, another time value, and head on off. Maybe you start to see crows just landing on things everywhere. You know, that might seem like an everyday occurrence, but just take note of it. And maybe that's going to pop up later. Who's to say? You can find you on your path there. But maybe you get to the end of your other time value. Again, nothing's really just screaming out at you. Hey, you know what? Maybe a bus pulls up and it might just happen to be, that's right, the number 8 line. Hey, you know what? Maybe on the side of the bus, what's that? A raven's head on some kind of advertisement. Oh, here we go. The theme's popping up. Our daily numbers popping up. I would say take a chance and get on the bus. Maybe you just so happen to have perfect change in your pocket to do so. And maybe you don't even ride the bus. You've never done as much in your life before. You know what? Take a chance, do something new. This is new too, so hey, let's stack it up. Let's get after it. Get on the bus, see what you see. Roll your dice for maybe a time value to see how long to stay on there. Maybe again, you roll your 8, and you know what? Maybe it's not just 8 minutes. Maybe it's the stop number 8. Maybe you notice up on the bus that's coming up. So you know what? Boom. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Now you get off the bus. What do we see here? Well, there's just nothing. There's nothing going on. You know what? In those cases, pick out an anomaly. Maybe you see somebody wearing something of real vibrant color, like your orange here, and everybody else is just wearing blasé colors. So you know what? Go after that individual who's wearing that orange garment there. Roll yourself a time value. Give yourself a little bit of a buffer there so it doesn't look like you're stalking them, and follow them. See where they're going there, or at least just for your time value there. Maybe by the time your time limit's up, you find yourself in front of a building with the old 53 in the address. Yeah, they get swapped on me sometimes. You know what? What is this? Maybe you just find yourself at a brass ring shop. Oh, following the theme again here. Or maybe it's an aviary or whatever they call it with the birds there. So go on in there, see what you see. Maybe they're here on a special with crows today. This doesn't make any sense, but I think you get the idea. You go in there, the person behind the counter asks what you're doing, and you're just like, you know what? I'm not here for any particular reason other than I'm out here doing a synchronicity walk, seeing how the universe is lining things up for me. And the person's going to think you're crazy, probably, right? But hey, you know what? Show them this video. Show them your dice. Show them that this isn't something that you get out and do all the time. And you're just trying to expand your horizons. You know what? Maybe they go, you know what? That is crazy. And you go, I know, right? And they go, no. It's my birthday too. Oh, how about that? Very well might just could happen, because you know what? Stranger things have happened. And you know what? Maybe that individual gives you a personalized tour of the aviary, or whatever they call the place where birds are stationed there. And you get to see some crows and find out just how smart those things are. Maybe it just so happens they've got a little experiment for them to pick out the peanuts, and they have to pull on a brass ring. Oh, wouldn't that be interesting? All right. And you think you get the idea of synchronicity, able to dial it in there a little bit more with the themes at the end there. So any event, let's move on with the birthday read. Your month is January. Your day is the 9th. Your sign is 17 to 20 degrees Capricorn of the Capricorn II period specifically. And your quality and elements is Cardinal Earth. All right. January 9th, the day of ambition. The tough, hard-driving individuals born on January 9 are highly ambitious people, not only for themselves, but for their family members as well. They want to reach the top and be the best, and are capable of devoting all or most of their energies year after year to that end. And January 9 willpower is not to be underestimated, and those born on this day are capable of applying great pressure to bend others to that will. Furthermore, they have a knack for recognizing opportunities and rarely, if ever, miss a chance to better their situation. And yet those born on this day are capable of making weighty mistakes and miscalculations as well. Defeat and setbacks of all kinds dot the landscape of their lives. Fortunately, their resiliency and sense of purpose is such that they can almost always snap back. It is extremely difficult to defeat them or force them to surrender. In January 9, people highly value personal initiative, personal responsibility, and personal freedom. And because of this, they may at times lose sight of more social or universal goals, and perhaps fail to understand or appreciate how the group-oriented mind thinks as well. Moreover, for many born on this day, learning to treat people as ends in themselves rather than as means to an end will take them farther in the long run. Cultivating perhaps less dynamic but more human values such as kindness, understanding, and acceptance is crucial to the growth and, indeed, their ultimate success. So oriented are January 9 people towards struggles and challenge that they rarely wish to rest on their achievements or retire to a life of happiness and contentment. They tend to be workaholics who commit themselves to their tasks 100% and therefore can find it difficult to relax at the end of the day. Having a partner, friend, or family member who can help them in this direction is of the utmost importance. And those born on this day are in great need of laughter and good times too. In January 9, people do not react well to being opposed in their endeavors. A quite ruthless side of their personality can emerge in such situations. Battlers, they use whatever weapons are at their disposal to overcome their adversaries, and fully expect the same in return. However, learning to view events in less black and white terms, and to recognize that present rivals can be future helpmates and friends, ultimately widens their understanding and strengthens their position in the world. All right, quite the interesting breakdown, I would argue. It was somewhat narrow of focus, but within that narrow focus, they really expanded out in scope, I would argue. And that seems to be a running theme for the Capricorns here. It's very, very contrary to how the book usually operates. But here nor there, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Let's dive into a little bit of a commentary here. I told you at the top I like to provide a little bit of quasi-comprehensive commentary, so let's dive into some notes here. January 9, the day of ambition. All right. Tough and hard driving and highly ambitious, the reading claims your quest to the top is not just for you, but for your family also. And not only are you capable of devoting your willpower, time, and energy toward the goal, but you're willing to bend others to your will. And if that wasn't enough, you have an eye to recognize opportunity. Which is probably the most important of all, I would argue. Even if the person without the drive and the willpower, they're able to spot opportunities, they're going to get ahead of the person with the will and the drive, and who have no eye for opportunity, at least arguably. So I don't know, or maybe they're just going to be at a nice even playing field with them. But that being said, hopefully the other quality you share regardless is not missing the chance to improve the situation. Having said that, the reading claims you can make impactful mistakes. But with resiliency, you apparently use such experiences as fuel for your fire. And interestingly, the reading shifts to your ostensible focus on more personally centered concerns instead of those with a more communal, macro, universal concentration, and how you may lose sight of such things in your advance. All right. It's an interesting shift to take, in my opinion, insofar as I'm left to assume that most people are more focused with their personalized, immediate proximity and the current concerns therein, their self, their family, close friends, etc. So why there's a point being emphasized for you to expand past that, specifically with regard to not treating people as ends in themselves, it really stands out. But the reading did mention your eye for opportunity, like we said previously. So perhaps that factors in with this. So mind that you aren't using people, I would say. All right, at least I guess. But to that end, for someone said to be well-versed with struggle, and who may need others' help, to help them relax, I think the reading is trying to say you'll find more fulfillment in expanding out in that way. Because sometimes we all need help, right? The reading finishes by also emphasizing this point by focusing on expanding past binary ways of seeing the world, specifically with seeming adversaries, to further round out this idea of getting out there and letting folks be kind of part of your life and not using them as ends in themselves, right? Or as the means to your own particular ends. So I like this particular dynamic. Very interesting to look at. But you know what? I think we can kind of assume people are ambitious. That's what they're going after. That's right. The tools they need to strike with the opportunity. But I think get the idea. That's what I had to say about your breakdown. So let's move on to your numbers and your planets. All right. Those born on the 9th of the month are ruled by the number 9 and by the planet Mars. The number 9 is powerful in its influence on other numbers, as any number added to 9 yields that number. E.g., 5 plus 9 equals 14, and 1 plus 4 equals 5. And any number multiplied by 9 yields a 9, e.g. 9 times 5, 45, 4 plus 5 is 9. And January 9 people are similarly influential. The planet Mars is forceful and aggressive, embodying male energy, but for January 9 people, its influence can be colored by the planet Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, which here grants seriousness of purpose, but also potentially manipulative tendencies. Oh, here we go. They're doubling down there a little bit. All right. That was your numbers and planets. Let's dive back into notes. I'll see what I can add to it. Because they really didn't say that much, quite honestly. But you know what? Kind of typical here for some of these entries. The number 9 and the planet Mars for influence on others and that god of war energy, as I like to call it. Coupled with the constrictive, conservative-oriented planet Saturn. For seriousness of purpose and potentially manipulative tendencies, they said. And considering what was related in the breakdown, it seems to make all the sense in the world to that end, right? Having said that, if you do have strong influences on people, I'd say certain burden rests on you as to whether or not you're going to use that trait responsibly, all right? To that end, Saturn is said to impart a sense of personal responsibility for an interesting dynamic and perhaps a moral dilemma in that respect, especially if you may be of the mind to see people as means for some opportunity, right? So herein lies some interesting moral questions for you to ask yourself with all of these particular elements in the mix. I love it when they make these things a little bit dramatic there. Moral dilemmas and the like. Having said that, that's been your numbers and your planets. So let's move on to your tarot. That's right, one of the more eclectic of the New Age metaphysical ideologies. But hey, it's here in the book. We don't have to take it home with us and start dealing out the cards to predict our future or however tarot cards may be used. We can just see what it has to say, make some connotations or connections, hopefully, and then leave it in the book. So let's dive in. The 9th card of the major arcana is the Hermit, who is usually depicted walking with a lantern and a stick, and he represents meditation, isolation, and quietude. The card also signifies crystallized wisdom and ultimate discipline. The Hermit is a taskmaster who motivates by conscience and guides others on their path. The positive side of this card is stick-to-itiveness, purpose, profundity, and concentration. Negative qualities include dogmatism, intolerance, mistrust, and discouragement. Such Satyrian characteristics are particularly relevant in the case of January 9 people. Interesting. I don't know why they dropped the Saturn aspect into the tarot to try and personalize it for you a little bit, perhaps, because the rest of it was a total copy-paste job. Well, maybe. Or maybe they just missed something and meant to put it in the other entry. Who's to say? But let's dive into what I had to say about your tarot here. The Hermit for crystallized wisdom and ultimate discipline. Taskmasters who motivate others to stay on their path. Positives of purpose, stick-to-itiveness, concentration, and great intellectual knowledge for profundity, if you didn't know or didn't remember what that meant. So great intellectual knowledge, says you have. All of which I would say speaks to the breakdown, almost informs it, if you like. Just be mindful of the seeming influence that you are poised to affect on others. Are you here to guide others on their path, open to the potential benefits and the fulfillment you may derive from that specifically? Or are you good with focusing on blazing your own path for your own advance? No judgment either way, but it's interesting to see what benefits you derive from the former if you've been focused on the latter. All right, that's what I'd say about your tarot, so let's move on to your health. All right, your health. Those born on January 9 can suffer common side effects of stress, headaches, anxiety, muscle tension, lowered resistance to infections, and problems with sleep. Learning to relax and allow themselves fun is crucial to maintaining their good health. Family and social activities, as well as regularly scheduled vacations, are an important part of this picture. An exciting, vibrant diet with lots of appetizing recipes is recommended to keep them looking forward to the zestful enjoyment of good meals. Only mild exercise is recommended for those born on this day, along with periods of rest, including occasional afternoon naps. Perfect. Which can work wonders. All right. In January 9, people must pay particular attention to the effects of stress on their bones and their teeth, as well as making sure they get proper dosages of supplementary vitamins and minerals. All right. They got a little specific there at the end, didn't they? All right. Let's dive into your health here. Headache, anxiety, muscle tension, compromised immunity, and sleep issues, apparently, due to stress, as they said. It's something to be mindful of, and runs a little bit of a theme here with the Capricorn period, specifically with those who are a little more workaholic types there. What else do we have here? Something to be mindful of. Finding fun and time off is mentioned as a means to curb as much. Like I said, all of which is a Capricorn through line. Extends to the enjoyments and exciting meals for diet. A lot of times they don't recommend food so much as an exciting foray into the culinary side of things or preparing your meals. And I always kind of argue, like, generally when people do that, they use fresh ingredients. So maybe that's where the diet comes in for you. They don't mention incorporating culinary expansion in this particular entry, but as often as it comes up, maybe it's something to be mindful of. Sleep and mild exercise for you, surprisingly. Mars usually has vigorous exercise incorporated with competitive, maybe even combative sports, ostensibly to maybe get rid or excise that god of war energy. But here they don't mention that, so maybe Saturn has some kind of influence into their thinking. I don't know. Sleep is a common through line, but talking about naps to help you get through your day, that does not come up very often. Once in a while, but probably the first time in this period. So, you know what? Use that as an excuse to get some naps in. I know you're not the person who probably takes them. You probably abhor the idea. But you know what? You do have permission by the authors here. But this mention of bones and teeth and to take care of them, that's a Capricorn body area. They mention supplements and vitamins. I'm assuming calcium for your bones. The veins is also an area for the Capricorns. So when they do mention diet, it's usually a diet that takes out dairy and animal fats, ostensibly for the cholesterol there. So, you know, I just wanted to impart that for you. They didn't mention as much, so maybe it doesn't affect you, but something to be mindful of in case it does, because they don't have so much space to correlate their ideas. In any event, that's been your health, so let's move on to some advice. All right, your advice. Watch children play and learn from them. And don't allow your ambition to lead you away from the best in you. Remain open to advice and take what others say about you seriously. All right. Remain open to advice in the advice column. There we go. All right, here. I had to write the what I had to say about it in the book itself. Ran out of space in the page. All right. They said watch children play and learn from it. Interesting. Generate some childlike wonder, perhaps. At least it sounds like. That's what I take from it. It says be less serious, or I said be less serious and enjoy simple things, perhaps. You might be too focused on the ends all the time. Let's see, and you know what? That's going to generate stress. So there you go. Don't let ambition lead you away from the best in you, they said. Great advice in general, I would say, but perhaps here, further fuel to be a little less geared toward personal success at the cost of all else. All right, again, just the stress. And what are you missing in life because you're so focused on that stuff? Who's to say? Remain open to advice, they said. We don't have to battle everything. They said you're battlers, but hey, you don't always have to be at war, right? The god of war energy there. Also, what might we be missing? Like I said again, being too close to our subject. Where are we, or where are our blind spots? That's a good one here. Are you open to being told over discovering it for yourself? And you're someone who, it seems to me, is prepared for a lot of different things. Maybe you want to know where those blind spots that you're not aware of are. All right. Perhaps it's something that we're in denial over too, that we even have blind spots. Hey, you got them somewhere, even though they may be really small. What else do we have here? Be objective about things. Perfect. At least try to be open. All right. It might be a very good first step, just trying for as much, even if we get nothing from it. Because, hey, you never know. That being said, it's okay to get nothing from something. Or something from nothing. I can't remember that. It's okay with getting nothing from something. Okay, yeah, I think it's a little bit of a meditation there, I feel like. Before we dive in with your meditation. That's right, it's your birthday. You get an actual meditation here in the book, not something I dreamt up of in the notes here. All right, here, you ready? Your meditation. Maturity does not exclude playfulness. All right, there we go. I like this one for you. Maturity does not exclude playfulness. All right, that's your meditation. It's your birthday. I'm not going to throw some spin on it or interpretation. It wouldn't benefit you at all, though it seems pretty plain to me. That's right. That's not a brag, but yeah, I've got my own interpretation. In any event, that's your meditation. So let's move on to your strengths and your weaknesses. That's right. Let's hold up the objective mirror. Being objective, like we said. Find out where we got the bulk and maybe where we're a little more atrophied there, if you like. Your strengths and your weaknesses. Your strengths, you're resilient. Hey, we knew that one. You're purposeful and you're resourceful. All right. Interesting. I see all those. I'm a little surprised that's what they drilled down on, though. You take your opportunity. They said you notice opportunity, right? I don't really see that one in here. I would have thought that was a huge strength. But hey, you know what? Doesn't necessarily matter. We knew that one too. But your weaknesses. Oh, let's hold up that objective mirror, but flip it to the side that blows up your face. Shows off the insecurities. That's right. The things on your face you're insecure about, superficially, if that applies. Your weaknesses. You're controlling, inflexible, and you're stressed. Ooh, stressed. I would say the same thing for these ones. Yeah, I saw all of those, but I don't know that they necessarily spoke to what is the most important weaknesses about you. Here nor there, let's roll with it, all right? A lot of times I like to say, don't throw too much stock in your weaknesses or think you got to get rid of them lock stock, because a lot of times our weaknesses can be strengths in and of themselves. It just depends on the situation. Also, to that end, a lot of times I see strengths and weaknesses trade between the different categories there. Impulsive came up once for weakness, and then on the next day it was a strength. So it just depended on the person. Having said that, if you want to get rid of your weaknesses, I would argue that your strengths are going to help you do it. You're resilient, purposeful, resourceful. You're going to find the things you need, and you have the purpose and the time to put into it. You're going to follow through on it, on addressing the weaknesses. But you're controlling, inflexible, and stressed. You know what? I would say being inflexible about certain things is a strength. You know, if you're going to get into some contracts, that kind of things, and it's something that's very important to you and inflexible about it, that's only going to benefit you. Maybe you have to move on to someone else who is going to cave to those demands. Controlling, you know what? Hey, I'm in control of this stuff. And if you don't like it, you need to move on, kind of thing. I don't know. It just depends on the situation. But then again, those could also be considered bad examples because, a lot of times we should be open to a little bit of compromise. But I think you get the idea. So like I said, don't get rid of your weaknesses altogether, however, because they make us who we are. All right. So your strengths and weaknesses having been relayed, let's move on to those born on this day. And when we get into those born on this day, not only do we get to see who shares your company, but something I like to do is take a moment to focus on and use this as an opportunity to examine figuring out our passions. It's too often in life I get out in the world and meet individuals, ask them what they do, and more importantly, if they like it. And they don't. And I don't think we can necessarily blame people. It's just, you get out of school, right into a job, something to make ends meet. And maybe we kind of get trapped in that because it becomes easy. It becomes second nature. We can just throw on the autopilot, head on to work, get it done, and then get on to our weekend. But by the time the weekend arrives, we don't have time for anything else. We got to get the bed sheets changed, get the kids fed, get the groceries, all that kind of stuff. And so we don't have time to actually figure out anything about ourselves. And you know what? I would argue that it takes time, it takes energy to figure out our passions. And I think it's important that we're driving after something that we find fulfilling, our passions, if you like. And so then maybe we can segue that over to a job that we're actually doing backflips out of bed to get into in the morning, where we're actually taking time to notice what's going on around us and not just putting on the autopilot. That's right. So I think this is the perfect opportunity, like I said, to not only see who shares your company, but see what they did to get in the book. And maybe it'll help stir up some fires, if you like, for you to figure out what your passions are, assuming you haven't already done as much. And if you have, hey, maybe just serves as an example to help you start stirring up the fires to figure out how to make it financially viable so you can get on with it and make it an integrated part of your life. Because it's going to take some time and effort to figure those things out. But you got the resiliency, the purpose, and all of that. Hey, you're going to do so. So let's try to take some inspiration if we can. We start off with Richard Nixon, the U.S. president, and he reestablished links with China, and he was implicated in a Watergate cover-up and resigned. We also have John Smith, an American colonist and British soldier, and a Jamestown president. We also have Simone de Beauvoir. Beauvoir, I don't know why I can't wrap my head around how to say it. Simone de Beauvoir, a French existentialist, philosopher, and writer of The Second Sex. We also have Carrie Chapman Catt, women's rights worker and a suffragist. And we also have Crystal Gale, a country western singer, Loretta Lynn's baby sister, and a country music's highest paid star, at least at the time of the writing here. We also have Joan Baez, or Baez, I can't recall how her name is pronounced, folk singer and songwriter, and an activist. We also have Kenny Clark, a jazz drummer and a bebop pioneer. Gypsy Rose Lee, a famed stripper, it says. First time one of these has popped up, interestingly. Bart Starr, 2 R's for Starr, football quarterback MVP, and he led Green Bay to 5 NFL titles and 2 Super Bowls. Also a Hall of Famer and a coach. We have Richard Halliburton, an adventurer, writer of the Royal Road to Romance, and died trying to cross the Atlantic in a rowboat. Let's talk about resiliency for a moment here, and maybe the downfall of as much. Interestingly, or any event. Let's move on. We have Finn Malmgren, Swedish meteorologist, North Pole explorer, and missing in the Arctic. Here we go again. Okay, I wonder how many of these other ones are going to stack up that way. Hopefully not many more there. Suzanne York, or Susanna, perhaps York, has an H at the end there. British film actress. Lee Van Cleef, a film actor. We also have Sheik Young, a cartoonist of Blondie and Dagwood fame. We also have Mitch Mitchell, a rock drummer of the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Jenny Jerome, Lady Randolph Churchill, and Winston Churchill's American mother, it says. I wonder if that just means she was an American and his mother, or if it means something else altogether. Who's to say? We have Gracie Fields, a British entertainer and comedian and radio and film actress. We also have Fernando Lamas, a film actor, Spanish film actor specifically, Judith Krantz, a novelist of Scruples fame, and Rudolph Bing, an Austrian-American Metropolitan Opera director and the Edinburgh Festival founder. Now, like I said, I don't know if we're going to be able to take, or maybe I didn't say it. I know it's a big-ass tall order to take inspiration from other people's passions, but hey, maybe just hearing as much, seeing what these individuals did. We had a couple who attempted to do some things. Hey, you know what? Admirable. But again, sometimes bad things can happen. So we got to be careful and be purposeful and resourceful. But sometimes they don't work out. But like I said, hey, you know what? Hopefully this inspires you to take on and start figuring out your passions. That's right. Because if I can wish for you for anything on your birthday, maybe said a little better, wish anything for you on your birthday, it's that you're out there driving after figuring out your passions so that you can find something that you find fulfillment from. That being said, that essentially rounds out your birthday read. Except to say, your season is winter, your sign once again is Capricorn, of the Capricorn II period specifically. and your quality and elements is Cardinal Earth. And what does that mean? Well, that's a different video altogether. I'll leave it at the end for you. And I do recall I butchered a couple names, so let's do so on my side of things to make up for it. It's not done in malice. It's just hooked on phonics. Doesn't often work for me. But this has been January 9th, the Day of Ambition, for The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and you Stuffers. I have an affiliate link for this book down in the description if you're interested in picking up a copy. Save the hassle of typing that in a browser there to look for it, and it supports the channel in the bargain, which I appreciate. But this thing makes an excellent coffee table book. If you're ever in you find yourself in the place where you need to entertain a crowd, perhaps bring some people over to the house if you like. You know what? Bring this thing down off the bookshelf, maybe stir up a little animosity between folks who don't agree, or it could go the other way. Maybe people just love it. And like, oh, I would have never considered as much. You know what? It's going to get the conversation flowing either way, so it makes a great tool for that. That having been said, not altogether too important with the book there, but what is important, like I said at the top, wishing you a happy birthday. So once again, I just want to say happy birthday. And for everybody else who joined us, I just want to say I hope you enjoyed yourself, found something interesting, and we see you for your birthday read. I just want to thank you for the pleasure of dropping by, letting me take some of your time up here to wish you a happy birthday, read your birthday for you. It's been a pleasure. And hey, thanks for letting me celebrate with you. But you know what? Lest I forget. That's right, your daily numbers. Get out there, let the universe show you it's with you on your path. Stack up some coincidences, some synchronicities if you like, and just see, taste, touch, feel, smell, intuit a little bit of magic. You'll understand why I brought it up for you. Because if anything I can wish for you, in addition to everything else that's been brought up, it's that you're out there having some fun on your birthday. All right. Yeah, happy birthday once again, and take care of yourselves.